Are you feeling tippy today? What I have here is this game called Tippi Tree. It's a 3D printable game that I found here on YouTube, and it's from the designer Make Anything. His name is Devin Montez. Montez? Let me know in the comments. Tippi Tree is a 3D printable game that you can find on My Mini Factory. It retails for $11.99, and 90% of the proceeds go to the creator, Make Anything. And I got this when it came out about 9 months ago, right when it was released, and I really have just been waiting to see how my family and how my kids really respond to it. Because a lot of times, we'll get a board game or something and they don't play with it for very long. But this is one that they pull out all the time to play with. And they don't always play this game. But as you can see, there's so many different ways that the pieces fit together. And it makes it, I need to print more pieces, I guess, because it's not getting so unstable that it falls over. But essentially, when you play the game, you can use one hand to place objects, and then your opponent has to place objects. These are called leaves of the tree. And the goal of the game is to run out of leaves first. So you can do things like put them in weird ways so it's really unstable. Whenever a leaf falls off, then you have to take all the leaves that hit the ground. So let's say I put this one here, and let's see, maybe oh no, so I can try to put this one on. Oh, I lost 2 leaves, so I have to pick up 2 leaves. And the game continues on. The really nice thing about this one, besides it being so interlocking and interesting to play with, is that you can print all the pieces that you want. And while the $12 cost for 3D prints may be considered high by most, if you look at the cost of many consumer games these days, I've been paying a lot of attention to it, it's a lot less expensive. You may go to a store and you get a game that has maybe 30 pieces to it or something like that, and it's 25 bucks. 25 bucks is really the entry level for games these days when you're buying them from a traditional store. And so for the cost of a roll of filament, or maybe a couple different rolls of filament, you want a couple colors with this. However many players that you're playing with, it's a little easier to see what's going on if you all have your own color. For $100, man, you could have a ton of pieces. And on average, I think I printed, it was like 8 pieces in 4 hours or something like that. It was 6 hours for the base. But I was also using a Bowden tube machine, and I kept having to slow it down and slow it down. What I would normally be able to print if it was a non-critical dimension thing, I had to go 4 times slower just so that the dimensions would be proper. And I'm not sure if it will show up on camera, but I've talked about this before on how Bowden tube printers, when you speed them up, if you don't have the linear advanced capability to change your extrusion factor, the edges of it will actually be kind of over extruded. They'll be round. And let's see if we can have this show up on camera here. I'll get this up here, and there we go. All right, so on this piece that's on this side, you can see how the edges are much more pronounced, how there is kind of a bulge on them, whereas the lower piece doesn't have that bulge. And because I was printing on a Bowden tube machine, that is really just the speed. Pushing too fast, you get those over extruded edges. And for a game like this, you want the pieces to be easy to slide apart. You want them to have, not too tight of a tolerance, and that way the game is a little bit harder. Now, if you're just wanting to print it for play blocks, on the other hand, it really doesn't matter. But I really wanted to share this game with you because my family has been having so much fun with it. They really enjoy Tippi Tree, and I need to print some more pieces at this point. We only have 2 colors yet, and we can build the tree up, and it won't always fall. Sometimes some pieces would fall off, but we need to make the gameplay a little harder, a little bit more involved. So that's, I figured what better way to get my butt motivated than to share it with y'all and take the pieces from my house so that my children will, they'll complain to me and they'll want it back. So what my children do actually is, they'll do these neat things, like they'll build a castle like this, put some leaves out. Let's see, how do they do it? they've come up with so many cool ways of putting it together, honestly. That's sort of amazing to see how kids think outside the box. You know, they'll have a castle in the center, and then they'll do like a big sort of fence line around the castle, you know, a moat. Maybe have some corner spires on there. And they'll stack these up pretty tall. And then they'll get out their little cars and you know, these little guys, and they'll line them up, and oh no, our castle's falling. But you know, there's almost infinite play that can be done with this, and it really motivates me to start printing even more. Now, I will say it is included with the files, these little test pieces. It's very good idea. It's a very good idea to do these test pieces first. You can get a pretty good idea of what your tolerances are going to be. You want these to be fairly loose on them. So if you do have a Bowden printer, I would say if you don't have Linear Advanced tuned in already, you're probably going to have to print at speeds that are like 25 millimeters a second or slower. I think I ended up having to go down below 20 to get these to you know, have a good slip fit with each other. So, you know, you're going to have to play with your settings, and certainly use these test pieces. Print maybe 2 of these at a time. Get your settings in to make sure that they're nice and loose. These orange ones I printed a little fast. They hold together a little too tight, and then I bumped it down for these. They don't fit together, and that's really what we want for the game, to make it the most fun and challenging for everybody. So, if you do have any questions about it, you know, this is more of something that you can just play with, but if you have any questions about it, put your comments down below. We will put a link to the original YouTube video on here, as well as the Mini Maker Factory, or whatever that website is called. And you know, it's no money going to me at all for this project. This is just a really cool project that I want to support the maker with, and hopefully y'all will pick this up, have some fun with your kids, or just, you know, build some blocks for yourself and have some fun, because really, at the end of the day, I think that's what's most important in life, is just having fun and enjoying ourselves. So, as always, I thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.